So once again, this conversation is not for the weak. This conversation right here is for my fellow Christians, and you don't even have to be Christian. If you are a religious person, you're Muslim, Buddhist, anything in between, I don't know. If you are a religious person, this is very important to understand. And if you've been watching my content for a while, I'm not one to put my religion in the forefront because I believe I can have these political conversations without invoking my religion. You know, because I think that's a weak argument by saying, hey, I think, you know, we should have a single payer system because Jesus says so. Like, no, that's not a argument. That's just your belief. But unfortunately, we live in a political atmosphere, environment where Republicans are putting their religion on the forefront, and they are purposely weaponizing their religion against everybody. Against everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian or you're an atheist or you're a Muslim. They are weaponizing their religion to cause harm, to destroy everything. And that is not okay. We as progressives, we have a responsibility to fight against that. And me as a Christian, I am obligated. I don't have a choice. I'm on the front line. I got a spine and I can stand on business. So I have an obligation to fight against this. So once again, this video here is not for the weak. It's not for the confused. It's not for the lightweight. If you don't have the arms to carry this type of message, then this ain't for you. Okay, so once again, warning. Now, the video we're going to watch is from a Christian rap artist that I've been listening to since 2009. And throughout his music career, especially, you know, living in America, you can hear his tone, his perspective change, especially through the Trump administration. You can hear his music develop and evolve into the person we're going to hear now. And that right there gives me hope. That right there lets me know I'm not the only crazy person out there. I'm not the only Christian out there that's looking at what's going on and riding along with it. Because that'd be a sad day. So let's go ahead, get into the conversation. Hopefully I don't get in trouble by playing this video because I never played a video from him before. So hopefully YouTube doesn't trip out. But if you do see black lines all of a sudden on this video, that means I did get in trouble by YouTube. So I had to re-upload it, put black bars on this. So we'll find out when you're watching this video. But he's going to watch Nick Fuentes being reacted by the Hodge twins. Now, here's a warning. I never heard the Hodge twins before. This is my first impression. And thank God, because listening to them the few times that I did watching this made me sick to my stomach. I wanted to punch my screen. Okay, so here's a warning. It's going to get very ugly.
From OC.
He thinks that if we snapped our fingers and you all disappeared tomorrow, everybody thinks our quality of life would go up.
Yeah, it would definitely go up. Definitely. Well, we the third biggest demographic in the country, right? But we account for a majority of the violent crime. So instantly, if we was to, black people, our people, was to disappear overnight, you could almost close down the majority of the prisons in the country. That's saying something. Yeah. How does 13% of the population account for a majority of violent crime in this country? Because the white man's out to get them.
You realize that? I'm just saying it. Everyone's thinking it.
Yeah, everyone's thinking that. No matter who you are, black, white, yeah, everybody knows this. The only people that doesn't realize this are black people. Why is that?
When we think of what's wrong with Chicago, it's like utopia. Chicago's like a utopia. Beautiful riverfront, beautiful lakefront, concerts in the park, ball games in the park, beautiful architecture, the best food. You know what the one problem is with Chicago that's driving the businesses out of the Magnificent Mile? You know what the one problem is that's making the public transit unusable? You know what the one problem is that's driving richer residents from the city? It's the crime. It's the chaos. It's the violence. And you know what demographic is almost exclusively responsible for it? It's you. It's black people. Everyone's thinking that. Everyone's fucking sick of it. And the way that society is going, stuff is too expensive. Wages are too low. Housing is too expensive. We work too hard to then spend our hard-earned money to go to Lollapalooza, spend our hard-earned money for a fun weekend in the city. God knows how expensive it is to eat out nowadays or to take an Uber. And then to constantly have to be worrying about this. God knows how expensive it is to afford to live in a nice city like New York or Chicago. And then to have to put up with that.
Yeah, perfect example, Cincinnati, what happened downtown, those people.
People are, I think, now too broke to be woke. People are too broke, work too hard just to be dealing with this kind of stuff and hear BLM and to hear these excuses about slavery.
It's a lot. That is a lot. It really is wild to me that the commentators were like, if we were to disappear, it would be better. Like, what in the self-hatred is happening with that situation? All right. So this is a lot. I don't know how I missed that. Well, I do know how I missed that. I didn't need to see that. Here's the thing. Let me just not even get into the socio-political area of it. Let's just jump straight to the spiritual. When you reduce a people to the amount of criminal activity or incarceration or how they frustrate you or how they are terrible, you remove what's called the imago Dei. You remove them being made in the image of God. Like, these are human beings that God cares about. They're not parasites on the planet. They are image bearers of the Almighty God. And regardless of what havoc they wreak on society, this is who God says they are. God says they are wonderfully and fearfully made. God says that they are made in his likeness and his image. And despite your disdain for them, you're now seeing them through the lens of your hatred and frustration, albeit racism, and not from the lens of God.
Now, when I heard him say that, once again, I look up to him in a spiritual way. Like, I've been listening to him, his sermons, everything. That hurt me because how I see MAGA, these Republicans, these hateful people, it is hard for me to see any God in them. It is hard for me to see any parts of God in their being. And trust me, I try so hard. I am not a hateful person, but they make me not like them. But of course, that's something I need to work on. Trust me, I know I need to, but damn it, they make it hard. Okay, I'm just going to be 100 with you. I'm going to be transparent. It is not easy liking these hateful people, let alone loving them. Okay.
And what God calls you to as you navigate dealing with other people. So instead of compassion and wondering what got a person to the place that he would sacrifice everything to spend the rest of his life in prison, you just assume it's innate, it's genetic, it's pure choice. Instead of saying what's wrong with them, you're not asking what happened to them, right? You're not asking what are the conditions that created this particular person. It's not removing culpability. It's not removing responsibility. You kill someone, you killed someone. But what did it take to make you a killer? What are the circumstances that created that? Because we're all born sinful creatures. We are not genetically predisposed as a race to be criminals and killers. So you're going to have to then look from a Christian lens and say, man, what does compassion look like? If I'm seeing a whole people group, to me, instead of seeing a whole people group as the troublemakers, the lawless ones, I can see a whole people group as, man, a traumatized group of folks. Why are these decisions being made constantly? And now, here's the real kicker. I can do that socially from experience, because I've been there, because I've been them, because I've been in those predicaments, circumstances, because I work with those people on a regular basis, because I've seen the redemption of people who come from the world that you deem as just predisposed to chaos, have their worldview shifted and experience something different. Now, politically, sure, there's all kind of angles that we can go down. We can go down the educational route. We can go down the access to opportunity route. But people don't want to talk about those particular things because they feel like those are excuses. You wanted to make the decision that you made. You wanted to be the type of person that you are. We never factor in the type of environment. Folks have no idea. I do, because I lived it. Folks have no idea the circumstantial and societal conditions that make me as a man want to be a gang member at 36 years old in the first $1 million home I could have ever imagined. Like, I'm sitting in my house, like, why do I want to celebrate and do the blood walk? Why do I want to go back to the hood and be with the home? Like, you don't understand the type of conditioning that the environment produces, and you don't understand how it's generational conditioning.
Hey, I'm just saying, if you got ears to hear right now, if you got the mental capacity, the comprehension skills to hear what this man is saying, can I get an amen in the chat? You ain't got to be religious. You ain't got to be Christian. Just give me an amen. Let me know that you are hearing and you're understanding what he is saying. This is not rocket science here. And always the excuse is, oh, Christians is the problem. Religion is the problem. No, it's person is the problem. It's the person is the problem. He's a Christian, and tell me what you disagree with what he's saying. Don't worry, I'll wait. I'm a Christian, and you ain't see me acting like all these other weirdos out here. So once again, it is not the religion. It is literally the people, bad faith actors, disingenuous people, opportunists, hateful people utilizing a belief, weaponizing it to push their agenda. That's simple. And my mods, I'm being serious. If anybody in my chat right now is being disrespectful to Any religion, Christian, Muslims, anything, you kick them out ASAP. You kick them out ASAP. I don't deal with hateful people like that. You ain't got to be Christian to respect my beliefs. You ain't got to be Muslim for me to respect your belief. So if anybody's being disrespectful, you kick them. And if you don't kick them, I'll kick you. I don't play that around here. You kick them in a heartbeat.
Like it's not in a vacuum. But if you start doing the generational work and just like, okay, why is Lecrae, is he predisposed to gangs and violence? Okay, well, where did I come from? My father ran with gang members. My uncles were gang members. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, why are they like that? Well, my father didn't have a father. His father died. Why did his father? What's going on with his? Well, his father experienced extreme prejudice and racism that pushed him from being able to be a provider for his kids. This is in the 40s. Well, why didn't he just overcome and be better? Or you look at the exceptions and not the rules. Well, I look at a young man like so-and-so and he's doing fine. Why can't you be more like him? Perhaps there was a glitch in the matrix that got him out of that social conditioning that he had experienced.
And let me add on that. And I get this from Dr. Cornel West, which another Christian dude that I love and respect, read all his books. He said, a lot of people don't grow up in love, so they don't know how to operate. Me, myself, fortunately, despite the area that I grew up in, here in Denver, Colorado, if you know what area this is, you know this ain't no walk in the park. I went to those schools where they had metal detectors. I went to the schools where it was shootouts, stabbings that I actually witnessed. But luckily, I had a family. I didn't even have a dad. I don't know who my dad is, but I had a family that loved me. They weren't rich. I went to school with high waters, but they loved me. And growing up, I understood how that love helped me not make as many bad decisions. But a lot of people don't grow up with that. They don't understand what love at home looks like. So they look for that love and that acceptance from outside. And unfortunately, where love is absent, where love is quiet, evil will raise his hand. Evil will step in and show that person what acceptance looks like. And unfortunately, that could be in the shape of a gang, which I see often. So once again, if you ain't got the ears to understand what I'm saying, you need to get your weight up.
Right? Like, that's my kids. You can look at my sons and be like, well, why can't black kids be more like your sons? They're good students. They're going off to college. Yeah, because their dad broke a cycle by the grace of God. I came to Jesus. My life was transformed. My mom fought tooth and nail to get me out of certain environments. And it was a process, and it didn't happen overnight. So my kids are generationally better than I am, because they don't have those conditions, but they're still going to have to work through their own trauma from dealing with a dad who came from trauma. But no one's thinking about that. No one's thinking about it with a compassionate heart. We're just saying, look at the crime. Look at the incarcerations. We're not looking at, I ain't even pulled the system card on anybody yet. Mm-hmm. We're both asking the same question with two different answers. Why are there more black men incarcerated than any others? Mm-hmm. We both want to know that. We both want to know the answer to that. But we're not satisfied with the same answer. Because the answer feels like these two twins are satisfied with is personal responsibility. And man, I'm not taking personal responsibility out of the equation. There are real killers behind those bars. There are real, rapists behind those bars. But we're never asking what are the social conditions that made those people the way that they are, and how did they get there? We haven't even talked about redlining. We ain't even got there. We haven't talked about the judicial system. We ain't even got there. So yes, let's go with your theory that they're irresponsible and they're doing these things. Okay. Why? You don't want to know why if you don't care. But if you care and you're compassionate, you want to know why. And you want to do something about it. And it's not punitive, it's redemptive.
And the bad thing is, and this is even throughout history, you don't even have to look too far to understand if you can demonize a people, if you can convince other people that a group of people is by nature evil or by nature a dangerous species or by nature uncontrollable, they can't assimilate through, a country, and they are just animals. If you can convince everybody else that about this group, what happens when you start killing them? What happens when you start hanging them from trees? What happens when you start dropping bombs in their cities? No one bats an eye. Oh, I mean, they're just evil people, like by nature. They don't know how to control themselves. Then it leads 9 times out of 10. Every history example of this always leads to these people getting slaughtered, killed, marginalized, pushed out, because they just think that they're by nature creatures, less than human. And like I said, this is not just a religion thing, especially in 2025 or whenever you're watching this, with Trump and this administration, they're weaponizing religion against everybody. You ain't got to be religious for them to target you. You ain't got to be black or Hispanic or gay for them to target you. If you don't fit their mold, they don't like you. So like I said at the beginning of this, you need to encourage your religious, progressive brothers and sisters out there to fight against this, to fight against the narrative of them weaponizing Christianity. Tell me where I'm lying at.
I'm off my soapbox.
All right, that was it. Hey, that was perfect timing. Shoot. Yeah, once again, guys, I mean, I kind of just went through my outro notes here, but we have a job, we have a duty, and like I said, I never want to be the one to utilize my personal beliefs to like justify my political positions, because I feel like I can have an argument without pulling my religion card. But unfortunately, Republicans is putting that out on the forefront. That is their identity, and they're using religion as a shield. So unfortunately, we have to have this conversation, whether you like it or not. That's simple.
Let's see how you do under pressure. I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy.